So in the commercial,
did you take a bite?
I do. You know it. You know it. You gotta take a bite. Yo. In the commercial.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yo. I just want to get right to it. Look. No introductions, no interruptions. When I roll into functions, just know that it's tucked in, like I wore a tuxin. Say hello to Justin. Justin for making something out of nothing. Mama told me I'm a star. Them haters said I wasn't. Now I'm looking at a mugging from a V-dozen shrugging. Feeling like McLovin, I'm becoming a conundrum. These dum-dums forgot where I come from. There's nothing that we run from. BK, niggas know the status. Got like 2 spots in the top 3 rappers. It's Hoffa, trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rapper.
All right, we back. My expert opinion, uncompromised media. Can I shut up run with that from now on?
Let's go with it.
Is that good? Is that good? All right. We live here in the hood, you know what I'm saying? With celebrities all the time, you know what I'm saying? Sad day for Brooklyn. Mac, how you doing, sir?
Queens get the money.
Yeah, all right.
Yo, Gat, don't let him talk like that, sir.
It's Brooklyn all day, man. Yo,
There you go. See,
Brooklyn all day, man.
gotta have more faith in your borough, man.
All the way A.
What's up, man? You already know, man. Big Harlem in the building.
Spinozo, I ain't gonna act like I ain't see you, man. You over there. Let's see you. Yo, shout out to Mike B for bringing me these Bogart joints. The long sleeve t-shirt. Gotta hit the gym for these, you know what I mean?
Yeah, shout out to
And I
Mike
got
B
the-
for bringing Mav Hoffa
Oh,
some
the hate.
Bogart t-shirts.
Here go the hate.
You know what I'm saying?
Here go the hate.
Mechanism.
You know what I'm
got
saying?
Gang, you got Kim.
Nah.
Let's be clear when it comes to Mike B. Kim is first. Kim is first.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
My
I
brother
just
right
want the
there.
red
My
joint.
brother right there.
Shout out to Mike B.
Yo, shout out to Mike B, man. That red
Shout out
joint,
to Mike
though.
He won't pass everybody like Mav, I got you. It's all
He
good.
dapped us up first.
Yeah, I
then
see
he
y'all
won't.
the little niggas. We gonna
There
go
you
over
go.
here, you know what I'm saying? We
He
get
dapped
it.
us up.
But do you know what would happen if he didn't do that? Hey. You heard? Yo, Kim, how you doing, man?
We the big homies.
Good morning, man.
Good morning.
It's a great morning.
This
great
is
morning.
it's a morning show now, right? That's wild.
Bronx here,
afternoon
Bronx
now.
here.
That's after,
It's technically like literally afternoon.
Afternoon. Yeah,
That sucks.
Kind of
Because
missed
it feels like the morning. I ain't want to break that up.
I'm still drinking my coffee.
Once he called it, he was like, you know, I had to agree. It is technically afternoon.
Yeah, it's
it.
technically-
Sunglasses
You know
speak
what
to
I'm
you.
Yeah, they stay on throughout the day and night.
Oh,
All right, we are here with historically a black man who has kept the job for a very long time. You know, you guys probably grew up on him. I didn't. I have cable, but I'm very familiar. Kenan Thompson's out there. Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
So what y'all gonna be joking about this Saturday?
We got Chris Rock, so that's a good start.
Oh,
Yay.
You know? That's a good start.
That should be a knee
We'll be checking
slapper.
in on him. Your knee slapper.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, you know, it's up to him. I mean, he's already like addressed how he felt about it in the paycheck fashion. So now he can kind of have fun with it, in my opinion. Like, he kept quiet until he dropped that Netflix special so he can get that check.
Right.
Got that check from Will. Moving on, you know what I'm saying? Time to like let it be funny or whatever. I don't know.
He got the check from Will.
I believe so.
Well,
I believe so. I don't
Was it
really.
like-
I don't
I
know.
didn't hear-
I thought I
I didn't
heard
hear
that, but
I didn't hear that.
Allegedly. Allegedly,
okay.
he got the check from Will.
And we know that's like $100 million or something.
I was about to say, if he hasn't gotten it, he gonna get it because it's, you know, it's video footage. You know? So it just is what it is.
Is that like work? I don't know how it works. When someone comes on the show who's been part of something like that, is it like, we got like 10 sketches about you getting slapped? Like,
I mean, it depends on if they can also like ask them what they want to talk about. Like you asked before we started, like, is there anything off limits? And it's
right.
Like, you know, I think they would easily have that conversation with people when they come host. Like, what are you not, you know, want to touch? You know, and then we'll spread the word. Like, all right, you know what I mean? You don't want to see a bunch of slap sketches or whatever. So, because if you don't tell people, then they will think, you know, what's the most obvious things about people, you know what I mean? And that'll come, you know, into the table reads, like the obvious things. And then, you know, certain writers will dig deeper or go in different directions or whatever. But, you know, when you're thinking about what does this person remind me of, unfortunately, that's high up there for him right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is why it was, in my opinion, so egregious. It was like, yo, you're just gonna tap this man's legacy like that, you know what I'm saying, in front of the whole world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this man's not a legend, not an icon, not, you know, a pillar of the, you know, all these things that this guy matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just, however you're feeling about a joke in the moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have easily just gone up there and like stood in front of him and told him like, yo, relax on that shit. That would have been intimidating enough, but
it wouldn't have been.
I don't get that.
It would have been climactic though.
I don't get that part because he laughed.
Like, it would have been like, yo, like everybody been like, yo, he just interrupted the whole show to like, you know, have a
But Will laughed at that joke though. He laughed at that.
So he saw his wife wasn't.
That's the other side of it. It's like, yo,
he was
man,
dead rolling.
He was triggered because he laughed and then he looked and then she looked. And he was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I gotta slap this man.
You don't do nothing, you know what it is.
Because like, you know, it seemed like a stressful moment, like a pinnacle of a stress kind of inducing thing because, you know, the Oscar race is stressful. It's a yearly long campaign of going to parties you might not necessarily want to be at or whatever and shaking a lot of hands and to even get a character that's Oscar, you know, nominated is a lot. You know what I mean? Everything is a lot. It seems like his life is a lot. So like, yeah, that was just an explosion.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
But getting slapped over as a comedian, that had to.
My man, you got a duck, bro. You don't see that coming? Like, man, put your hands up. You don't see this man approaching you? You like calm him down. At least have your hands here.
Who would think that Will is going to
he did not think that.
I still didn't think he had his hands behind his back.
This man is an actor. You got to remember that.
True.
This man is an actor. You don't know the real Will Smith. You don't know how long he's been acting.
He's from Philly.
He's from Philly.
Philly nigga.
I know Chris Rock from Brooklyn. I'm like, he should have put his hands up.
Right. That part.
He didn't see it.
How? The man walked
because
a half a mile.
Because there's a difference between Fresh Prince walking up to you and Muhammad Ali walking up to you.
Right.
Or you don't know which one is which.
What do you mean? What do you mean? This man played Muhammad Ali.
He also played a dude in 6 Degrees of Separation. He played.
Yes,
I would have remembered the Ali performance though.
No, nobody thought he was gonna do no shit like that.
Yeah, he probably thought he was part of the show that he wasn't in on it. And he was like, nah, this is definitely part.
As he was walking up, he was still having a moment.
Like,
Plus, he, like everybody else, he saw him laughing.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's gonna maybe pretend to slap me, not like slap me for real.
Right.
It was not that.
Boy, was he wrong.
It was the latter.
Right. So is there like a protocol for comedians now? Like, okay, we're gonna keep these nunchucks on us just in case.
You know, I saw Chris and Kevin at the Garden. And like Kevin was coming out with bats and shit. It was a joke, but he was like, anybody run up. Like the first minute of him like getting the microphone was that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It killed. Like it was really, really funny because Chris had just gone and talked his whole. You know, he already talked about it. You know what I'm saying? So now we can joke about it. So that's what I'm looking forward to this week. Like maybe we can joke about it, or not. Whatever. He's funny regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right.
Maybe he can find some levity in these political times or some shit like that because he's a smart comic like that. So
as a professional comedian, as somebody who's funny for a living, I've always considered like there are no limits when comedians get in their bag and do their thing. They can find a way to make anything funny. But now with people being this sensitive to the point where you're getting attacked by other Hollywood celebrities
and bots,
does that put like bots is always there, but like people walking up on stage is different. Does that put like a cramp in your style or how you do your thing now?
Well, I consider myself an actor. I'm a comedic actor, but I don't do stand-up necessarily. So like my approach is not so immediately responsive, you know what I'm saying? Like I do television, so if somebody catches me outside, they're talking about something that happened, you know, weeks and weeks, you know what I mean? So it's usually not that, I don't think they're that angry still, or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? So I don't run up against like the fire emotional reaction in the moment like that, but you kind of just, there's going to be consequence. Like, yeah, you can speak your mind, but like, don't be surprised when somebody doesn't enjoy that shit and they respond to that shit, and you have to be ready for that. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want that, find a smarter way to tell that same joke where it's not as offensive. You know what I'm saying? Or that person can see it as funny.
Right. Well,
and like, you know, it's a tough one when they say like, oh, you know, anything should be up for humor, but I don't know if I agree with that.
Are there sketches you won't do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there really are. Like, I think, you know, certain things aren't necessarily helpful. So I try not to, like, do shit that doesn't necessarily, like, push shit forward. Or if I really feel like, you know, when I get, like, Uncle Tom comments and backlash of shit that I've already done, I personally never approached it that way and didn't never see it that way. Because if I did, I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from the South, so we know, like, our history very well there, especially the dark side of it. And I don't play with that like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's funny. And I don't think it's funny when people try to throw those accusations on me either, because they don't necessarily know me. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of looking outward in. And, you know, some points they might have like, you know, an inkling to think down that road. But like, if you really knew the situation, you would never say that. You would also never really say that to my face, because like, that's an angry kind of response you're gonna catch from me, because it's like, who do you think you're playing with? Like, I'm not a child, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not out here playing
see
games.
These hands.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to show them to you, but
all right, okay. So I want
to go somewhere though, right here in this conversation, because the Andrew Schultz comments that came out recently, right, about Kendrick Lamar, I just got to ask him, since we're talking about how far can comedians go, where's the line? Like, how do you feel about those comments that he made about Kendrick Lamar?
I mean, we've been talking about it all day. I haven't necessarily seen it because I don't pay attention to what feels like obvious nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, one side is like, if I'm going to kill you over these words, then you're probably saying words that are like hyper angering that side. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you should just relax, you know what I'm saying, on whatever you're doing to cause them to be having that kind of reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's way too much shit going on in the world for either one of them to be focused on such negativity towards each other, because now it's just counteracting. Well, I'm still a man, I can say what I want, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you can't say that, like, you know what I'm saying? We should stand up for our black women on this side or whatever. Don't let no white comic do this, blah, 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 blah. And like, all that back and forth, and it's like, they both, it feels like the point of respect is further on the Kendrick side, and the point of disrespect is coming from the Schultz side. And his only defense on that side is, I can say what I want, freedom of speech, this, that, and the other. And it's like, yes, that's true, but there are consequences to action. You know what I'm saying? There's consequence to words. And if you want to continue to live that, you know, freedom of speech shield, then, you know, you have to take what's coming to you. And that's not necessarily advocating for anything, because I'm all about like peace and tranquility and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to wish ill will on nobody kind of shit. But there are reactions to actions, you know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's dumb to continue to try to play that game, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, if you don't want to apologize, then say, I'll do better, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Let me figure out how to get my point across, because my initial point was trying to be funny. So like, where did I miss the boat? You know what I'm saying? You missed the boat because it feels like whatever joke you was telling is hyper egregious immediately, because the only reaction that came from it was anger. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like,
It wasn't funny. I
It's
didn't
like
think it was funny.
how does Andrew Schultz get on Kendrick Lamar's radar anyway? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like I thought he was focused on Drake.
I think
So you know what I mean? Like
I was very surprised at Andrew Schultz because I figured, you know, Charlemagne would have told him about the drops by now.
and it feels like putting his peoples in a bad position too. Like, you know what I mean? Like now this guy's gotta continue to try to like explain to you why you should probably relax and this, that, and the other. Like, you know, I don't know, man. It's like grow the fuck up. Like, of course you can't just talk shit about a grown man and talk about, from what I've been hearing, you talking about like raping them and shit or like whatever the fuck, or, you know, all kind of crazy like shock factor, like word play kind of shit.
Right.
Which is like, hey man, like this motherfucker's about to go in the office and all kind of shit is about to go down. You know what I'm saying? Is what we need to be focused on, it seems like. And all these side distractions of who's got a case for what and this, that, and the other is besides the point. And like the biggest point that I'm getting out of it, that I would like to take from it is like, yeah, don't let people disrespect our black queens. Like, why would we? You know what I'm saying? That's the only like logical thing I can see from this whole thing. Like, fuck freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, of course we have freedom of speech, but like I said, you know, you free to talk, but you free to get smacked too if the person you're talking to doesn't like what you're saying.
So something could be, I guess two things could be true at the same time. Like MECC says, like something could be funny but offensive to somebody else and cause the issue. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, who's it funny to? You know what I mean? Like, is anybody laughing or is it just coming from a comedian? So it's technically supposed to be a joke. You know what I'm saying? But like jokes are supposed to be funny. So like if it's not funny, then it feels like it's just shit talking. And shit talking is, you know, that's just some bullshit.
You was ever put in a situation like that? Where you said a joke and somebody took it offensive?
Yeah. Or done an impression and people took it left. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. Like, it's not that serious, but Neil deGrasse Tyson didn't like my impression.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm playing him a little. He thinks he's cooler. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
He's like, hey, man, I don't talk like that. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
How do you handle those situations, like when it occurs?
I mean, it's like, I don't feel threatened by him, even though he's a tall guy or whatever. But, you know, he just doesn't feel like an actual emergency necessarily if he's upset. Like, I feel like I can calm him down and apologize and, like, we can use our words kind of a person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, you know, going back and forth, like, this wasn't like an impression, but this was like a accidental, like, in the moment kind of disagreement for a moment going back and forth with Mike Tyson over the N-word. You know what I'm saying? And, like, his perspective on that was really bothering me, so I had to speak on it. And he didn't love me speaking on it. But we got to a point where he respected where I was coming from and we were able to move on kind of shit or whatever. So like, that's how I do. I'm not out here to like argue with motherfuckers, but at the same time,
that was the person that you was going back and forth. Out of anyone,
Mike
as
Tyson.
a man, I'd be like, out of anyone like to back down from, I would think Mike Tyson would be the one I would give guys a pass. Like,
but
okay.
also like of anyone to big up, it would be a person like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the way he was talking was crazy against his legacy in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, in other words, like when people be like his quote was like, if I'm not a nigga, I'm nothing. And I was like, that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't use that word only because I feel like it is rooted in bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And there's no spicing to shit to make it taste good. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be that. So I try to leave it in the past. You know what I'm saying? I try to move on and like uplift, use another word, my brother, my this, that. You know, I love the 70s because there was so much brother talk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Soul brother. You know?
What's up with
So
that?
to hear him say that, I was just like, man, I don't know if I can let you sit in that one, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I would much rather like, you know, call you a king or this, or, you know, use any other adjective besides, you know, that shit. So, yeah.
That's
only
something
right. It's only
to
right.
disagree with.
Yeah, it was subtle, but he got mad because he don't like people not necessarily going with his flow like that, you know, and I get it because a lot of the time his flow is not that egregious to where you know, usually you just like, oh, that's just, you know, that's Mike being Mike kind of shit or whatever. Right. But hearing him say that, man, that shit just, I don't know, man, it just made my spine go up. Like,
are people surprised when they see the serious side of you?
Yeah, because
right now
I do so much comedy, and I enjoy doing comedy. But at the same time, like, my personality has always been what it is. I'm a Taurus, and like, you know, I'm a black man in America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, it just, you know, I had wake up calls early. You know, especially like growing up in the South. Like I said, like, you know, I remember becoming conscious. Like, it's different in New York because I feel like a lot of the rap from up here is all conscious. You know what I'm saying? A lot of knowledgeable from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know, throwing out knowledge of self, roots, consciousness, growth, youth.
Used to be.
You know?
It used to be.
But in Atlanta, it was more like pimp talk, drug talk, gangster talk, this, that, and the other kind of shit. And positivity came with like Outkast and stuff. But, you know, before that, it was, you know, it was pretty gully. You know what I'm saying? And like, it had nothing to do with like learning anything. Or do you know who Marcus Garvey is and all of that, you know, like, and I remember having that awakening after I got like, you know, followed by the cops for no reason or some shit just for being in the wrong neighborhood, you know, 4 black boys like looking at the houses, you know what I'm saying, in the afternoon. And yeah, we got followed and pulled and this, that. It wasn't nothing as egregious as what's going on these days, like, because motherfuckers is getting snatched out the car or shot in the car or whatever. But that difference between like, oh, I've done this exact thing before, why all of a sudden is it a problem now? Because it's like, oh, because it was like, 4 young black youths, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing in this neighborhood? And that wake up was like, oh, we're not just free to do whatever kind of shit.
Can you go into detail about that situation and how that played out?
Now, like I said, like, they followed us. Like, I don't think they pulled us over, but I remember them like intimidatingly following us around, you know what I'm saying, until we like left the neighborhood and like got on the highway and shit.
Was there any name calling?
No, I don't think it was an interaction with them at all. You know what I'm saying? I just noticed them because, and you know, it wasn't that big of a wake-up call. Like, of course I've heard of racism. You know what I'm saying? Being racially profiled and this, that, and the other. It had just never happened to me personally like that. You know what I'm saying? To where I was driving around and then I was being followed by the police to where it seemed like I wasn't welcome. You know what I'm saying? Right. And like, you know, Atlanta had its history, but in the 80s and 90s, Atlanta seemed like it was trying to grow out of that. You know what I'm saying? And like trying to like distance itself from that. It's like, yeah, the haves and y'all over here and we over there, but that's just how it's been established. Everybody goes to the Braves game. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes to the Hawks game. Everybody, like I said, those sports down there, I think are, you know, kind of like
equalizers.
They're equalizers, exactly. That's why everybody fucks with it so heavy.
I think it's weird to try to explain to somebody that the presence of the cops alone can feel so ominous, like on your back. They're just, on the surface, you try to tell somebody that story, it sounds like nothing.
Right.
The cops were there. Hey, I felt safe. Hey, they just escorted us through the neighborhood, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, because that's not what they do. Like, everybody knows cops don't just escort people through the neighborhood. You know, they come to like protect and serve, like serve. You know what I'm saying? So like,
unless you got $20 and you're in DR.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying? They need a police escort. Yeah.
I don't know what just happened.
I'm just saying, you need an escort. That's what it takes.
On the other side of that, there's a popular argument happening now where you'll hear certain correspondents saying that black men at a certain financial level are immune to racism. Like, you can't be racially discriminated against, or racism is no longer your issue because you've made X amount of dollars, i.e. LeBron James. LeBron James doesn't deal with racism anymore because he's so rich.
That's not true.
You're taking a shot at Candace Owens right now?
His whole house, his house got spray painted up.
She's not the only person who said that. That's why I'm not naming
I'm just saying, call out if you're going to do it.
She's not the only person who said it.
Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne said it.
She's not the only person who said it.
He said he was immune to racism?
I doubt that.
No. That he wasn't. That he just never dealt with it. He doesn't.
He said
He's
that?
never experienced it.
He don't.
Go Google his Black Lives Matter response.
Remember,
I didn't see that.
You understand?
A
white man has saved his life when he almost died.
Right. I remember that.
His perspective is just a little.
It's a little bit different.
Oh, I didn't know that.
While the black officer stepped over him, the white officer stopped and helped him.
I'm not black emoji.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, perspective matters, but at the same time, he refuses to acknowledge his perspective is. It ain't even like a 1%. It's like a 0.0012% of people that experience the life that he's experienced personally, and I get it. Like, just because there are good whites doesn't mean that there's not bad whites.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The same thing as good blacks. There's not, there's not bad, but like, of course there are. There's bad, good and bad on every side. But yeah, there's people bumping up against like real hatred and ugliness. You know what I'm saying? And like for him to like, I don't think he's not acknowledging that. I'm just thinking he's like it. For him not to understand that it doesn't help. For him to be like, I've never personally. It was like when Jordan didn't, advocate for the candidate back in the day. You know what I mean? Like it's like your non-action is almost worse than whatever your action would have been.
It's like compliance
kind of shit, a little bit.
Right. Well, I gotta ask, did Kenan have a thug phase growing up? Like, was there like
thug phase?
Yo, I was 5 minutes away from just
5 minutes. Yeah, we all related to folks. You know what I'm saying? And like,
so that's yes.
I would say work definitely kept me away from a lot of that. But like, that's how it was growing up too. Like sports, playing music, all those things were to keep you, busy enough not to just go down that road necessarily. But I can't deny my friends. I can't deny, my family members and shit like that because it is what it is. But I'm always trying to, pray that they see more of the light than the dark, as far as like what are you really participating in? You know what I'm saying? Like what exactly are you, throwing your loyalties toward? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? On a day, is it a survival thing? Do you really believe the doctrine? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That you've been told this, that, and the other. And, a lot of the time it's survival, it's family, it's neighborhood, it's, that. But like, also if your sergeant tells you to do something, what is that something that you're doing? Like how much harm or this, that, and the other, and like the pros and cons of that, and can you live with that karma? You know what I mean? Like I can't make you make your decisions of how you feed your family, how you live your life, how you move out here in these worlds. You know what I'm saying? I can just hope and pray you can make it through the consequences if you are doing dirt, and if that dirt is really, really dirty, then it's like, hey man, you out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I feel like you're dropping cold, man. Like,
yeah, man, because like you know what it is, bro.
You like folks, neighborhood, you know what it is.
Like,
dirty. Shout out to the homies.
People is like,
that reminds me of that Wayne Brady
underworld
skit.
In life.
Y'all ever seen that Wayne Brady skit? That's what it reminds me of. Like he gonna leave here
He's
like
pulling up, turning people into good burgers.
You know what I mean?
Good burger, nigga.
Good evening, bitches.
Wow.
Man,
okay.
Came back. I know where they be kicking it at. Good burger.
So question, like growing up, you in VA, like when was that moment for you where you took interest in being an actor and also into comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been an actor like my whole life. Basically, it's my one and only job. But I was the fucking gingerbread man in kindergarten type shit. You know what I'm saying? So like it started probably there because I was the gingerbread man. I wasn't the stove. I wasn't the chair. You know what I'm saying? I was the gingerbread man. So like people noticed that I had a knack for it, and one of my mom's friends was like, "You should put him in acting classes or whatever." And then I started. It was just something to do along with learning instruments and playing sports and just going to school and growing up or whatever. But then it, you know, became a real thing once I started like learning how to like audition for shit. And, you know, Atlanta is nowhere near how, you know, opportunistic it is now. But, you know, they had, you know, a commercial system and they had, you know, TBS and shit like that. So there would be some like, or the news would do like a side story about an exhibit at the zoo or some shit. You know what I'm saying? We can get hired to be a kid running around the new dinosaur exhibit or whatever. So I did shit like that. And like once I got my first paycheck from my first commercial,
Which
I was like 11. It was a fried chicken commercial for this place called Lee's Famous Country Recipe Chicken.
Shout out to Lee's.
Right.
Fried chicken.
Longest title ever. But
The most country.
the crazy part, I never got to see the commercial because none of them were in Georgia. So they didn't run the commercial in Georgia. They were in like Tennessee, Alabama.
Well, what were you
like
saying in the
around
commercial?
shit. So in the commercial,
Oh, Lord.
Did you take a bite?
I do, you know it. You know it. You gotta take a bite. In the commercial,
Oh, man.
I'm fishing with my fake granddad, and I say, "Granddad, the fish ain't biting today." And he handed me a piece of chicken. And I was supposed
Daddy
to take
just
a bite.
happened to have
He
random
reached in the
piece of
picnic
chicken.
basket.
Was it in the cooler?
He didn't have a line, I don't think. He didn't say nothing. Just handed me the chicken. I take a bite, and he say, and I say, "Oh, I like this kind of biting." And that was it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Granddad's pulled out random chicken.
Yo, that was fucking
Other grandfathers got like
Oh, I like
butterscotch
this kind
and
of
change. She got
Yo.
chicken.
Chicken.
Yo.
Here's the thought, son.
Yep.
Fish ain't biting today. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. I like this kind of biting. Yeah, that's right.
Take a goddamn chicken from
Sit
Lee's Chuckabuck chicken, whatever. Lee's
Chuck-a-buck.
Whatever he said that shit was called.
Not Chuck-a-buck chicken.
Chucklebuck ass chicken. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's it, yo.
Yo, hey, something wrong with him, bro. If I see that on a t-shirt,
Yo, we gotta make them now. We gotta make them now, Mike. We gotta make Chucklebuck chicken.
40% to the show. One rep, 40%.
That'll work.
We need to
But they paid me $800, and at age 11, it felt like a lot of money. And I was like, I like this, so I just pursued it more and more, and like started trying to like book this commercial, that commercial. Wound up on the Mighty Ducks, and they introduced me to Nickelodeon, and that was that. So,
So Mighty Ducks was before Nickelodeon?
yeah, that was my first movie. The second part two, yeah.
What was that movie called?
The Knuckle Puck.
Knuckle Puck.
Yeah.
Knuckle puck.
Yeah, the
That's
Knuckle
where he got
Puck.
Chucklebuck.
Oh shit! Lee's Chucklebuck. Oh man, I won't be saying that all day.
That's nasty work.
I tried, man. I tried.
That was nasty work.
All right, so I gotta ask for all the conspiracy theorists out there. Being considered a child star, was there anything satanic, devilish, or crazy that you saw coming up in Hollywood?
Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I only say unfortunately because I can only sympathize from the outside. You know what I'm saying? And I never had the chance to like intervene for anybody necessarily because no, I didn't see any kind of bullshit like that. And I thank our mother's presences for that, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I don't really think you just be playing around with, you know, especially short black mamas. Like short black mamas are very strong.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Strong people.
That's a
So
fact.
like, you just don't
Yeah.
play with them like that. I think they were given more so the energy of don't even play with us like that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So forget about anything like satanic. It was just like, don't play with us, period. And like that really was for us, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember my mom burst in because she thought I said a curse word that I didn't say, and I was in the middle of like recording, you know what I mean? We were in the middle of a take kind of shit, and she kicked the studio in and like pulled me to the side and was like, what I tell you about just that? And I was like, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? So she was not playing that. And,
Like, Mom, I said
yeah,
fudge.
Right. It was something like that. Like it was written that way or something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And she was like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. But everybody saw it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They took you out the list like, nah.
Don't invite
me.
them.
Not this one.
Not this one.
Those two right there, nah, different
Took them all
respects.
right
Shout
there.
out to our mom. Shout out to my mom, Kel's mom. You know what I mean? They held us down in a big way.
Yeah, because those stories come out now,
It's sad, bro.
horrific.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
And you have to wonder, everybody kind of asks the same question, like, where were the adults? What happened? How did you get separated from your moms enough or your pops enough for this to happen to you in the first place?
Yeah, a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing kinds of, you know, I don't know. I don't know how predators, you know, kind of manipulate necessarily, but it seemed like some master manipulation to, as far as, you know, one of the stories, you know, where a kid was, you know, spending the night at somebody's house that was like supposed to be underneath a tutelage of some sort, you know what I'm saying? So like all of that is just problematic and awful, and yeah, I don't know if the karma for that person can come fast enough or harsh enough, you know what I mean? Because it's just egregious. You know, like grow the fuck up, like you know, go talk to an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is your kinks are or whatever, deal with an adult with those situations.
Right.
Before they dropped that Quiet on the Set documentary, did you know it was coming? Like,
I had heard, and I think they called to see if I wanted to participate or something like that, but I was like either too busy or I didn't really have anything to say that was satisfying them to continue to pursue to like book me for it or something. I was just like, no, I think I was like, no, I didn't see nothing or something like that or whatever. And they it was just like, really? Like, you didn't really, or some shit like that, where whoever was asking the questions, I didn't have a good enough answer because like there's no dirt in the answer kind of thing. It's just, it, you know, I was, you know, blessed to make it out of there unscathed, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
You can't speak to tragedies you didn't see or even witness.
No, I can only respond like everybody else and be angry, like, what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you? And then like being very angry about, you know, my personal legacy, you know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you tarnish and taint my hard fucking work, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was out there busting our ass for hours and hours and hours, you know what I'm saying? And going to school and shit on top of that, trying to be good people, you know what I'm saying? Trying to do good for the world.
Right.
Comedy is, in my opinion, doing good for the world, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we like making people laugh, you know?
Right.
You know, like real hard.
Oh, y'all like close?
Me and Kel? That's
No.
my brother.
I know you and Kel, but I'm talking about the other cast members. Like, did you guys hang out?
In the beginning, yeah.
So
we
no
were
one, like, shared
together all the time. You
No
know?
one shared those type of stories, anything? Like, no one ever shared, like, oh, Dan did this, or...
No, I mean, those things were happening in other casts that I wasn't a part of.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like, I wasn't there anymore. So, yeah, nobody, like, pulled me to the side personally. It was just like, yo, they touching me. You know what I'm saying? I would have been, sorry, not to laugh at that, but I'm saying.
Yo, sorry.
No, I'm only laughing because I would have been like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
who touched you? Like, what are you talking about? You know
How
what
you
I'm saying?
feel about
Right.
Orlando going on those rants?
Orlando?
Yeah,
Who's Orlando?
the comedian.
Orlando Brown.
Brown. He's not
Going on those rants, those type of rants?
I didn't hear what he said. Oh, the actor Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah, man, he looks disturbed, and it seems like he personally went through some shit, which is why he might be like, you know, seemingly trying to like air people's, you know, whatever. But it's like, it would be more helpful if you told your personal journey and, you know, held those accountable for what happened to you, and then move towards like helping other victims or some shit, as opposed to trying to be like, oh, well, you know, this person and that person does this and that person does that. It's like, you know,
It's not taken serious.
if you don't have, if you don't have no proof, it's not really helping the situation.
Right.
So it's like, and then you're not looking like a legitimate kind of source either. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he looks disturbed. That was my first, you know, kind of like thing that I said about him. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, he looks put together and he knows what he's talking about, kind of. You know what I mean? So it's like, my man, like, I pray that, you know, he's able to work through that trauma and like, you know, get it together kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because right now it feels like, you know, a runaway train a little bit. Kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like Nick Cannon just responded and said that, you know,
Yeah, it was a whole pause.
he never
You want the button?
You can press it. You can press it.
Yeah, you pause before you say it, bro.
Yeah.
I seen that shit. Yo, that was crazy.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Nick for clarifying that for us. You know what I'm saying?
I could have went my whole life without him.
Yo, what did he say?
Yo.
Oh, you said he sucked his dick.
Who said who?
That's what Orlando said. Nick Cannon did that, and Nick Cannon cleared it up.
He was like,
that
I never.
happened.
Well, yeah.
But he said he cracks up all the time because it's a joke to him.
He doesn't take him
Don't
seriously.
take him serious.
Right, which is what I'm saying.
That's the whole point of
Right,
it. Yeah,
exactly.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's fucked up to like even throw shit out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Because Nick does have children, and his children like
A lot.
are able to read.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like when people throw bullshit at me, it's like, hey man, like that's why you know Jay's response. I was like, that was a thorough like statement he put out. It seemed like not to like you know act like I'm saying anybody is guilty or innocent, but like his statement. And in the statement saying it's like the real crime is the fact that people can just hurt innocent children because they are able to read or their friends are able to read and it comes up in discussion and now there's a loss of innocence because I have to explain greed to my child kind of shit. So
Yeah, that's real messed up. So since we're talking about it, a lawsuit has come out accusing Jay-Z of and Sean P. Diddy Combs. That sounds so weird when I say Sean P. Diddy.
I don't know why you.
you don't need to.
Yo, Hov and Diddy.
You could have said
They
Puffy.
saying Hov and
You
Diddy.
could have said
Sean
Puffy,
Combs.
Diddy.
We all know.
You know what I'm saying?
Completely correct.
You know, it had some sort of unlawful relations with a 13-year-old. And it's starting to seem like it's a cash grab for these lawyers who know that you don't want these type of headlines connected to your name. So it's like, okay, oh, you working with the Super Bowl coming up? Yeah, this person said this, like, give me some money and, you know, it won't come out. And Jay's response was, nah, I'm from Brooklyn. We're going to fight this all the way. I read it, and someplace in the middle of it, I feel like, you know, it's a little air of, yo, nigga, you going to get fucked up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I really felt like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a well put together statement, you know, and it didn't sound like it was coming from a lawyer, but it definitely was.
It sounded a little like the King's English, though. I implore
it was very
you.
proper.
I implore you.
Because, like,
So maybe
here's my
Pusha T
question.
helped
When
him
you're
write
sticking
it.
to the system, you gotta talk
Pusha
like
T
that.
might have helped him write it.
I implore you.
Pusha T was out there.
You don't need to talk like that. I implore you.
Yeah, I
Let me say
implore
this.
you.
Let me
Look
say
who
this.
he's talking
Let me
to.
say
That's
this.
what
I
I'm
get
saying.
it.
When you
I
speak
get
into
it.
the
Let me say
system,
this.
Right.
In
you gotta
that
talk system
statement,
talk.
was did he make a clear denial of the allegation in that statement? A clear denial. Let me start this statement off by saying, I didn't do that.
Do you have
those
to?
words? That's what I'm
I'm
about to
just
say. Do you have to
asking
say
a question.
that, or can it be that was that? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
I
his
think you
rebuttal
deal
was
with
that.
the
Yeah, it's
allegations
heinous,
first.
horrendous.
Okay.
You deal with
You
the
know,
I would
allegations
have hoped that
horrendous,
you
first.
be
that type of
pursuing a criminal lawsuit instead of a civil lawsuit because
Right.
crimes against a child is egregious. No,
Very
so like, why would he
egregious.
self-wish a criminal lawsuit on himself if he's not saying that he didn't do that? You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like saying, first of all, let me just say I didn't do this.
Media trickery.
Right.
Nah,
mean,
civil was
Kim,
like they go
trickery.
for a money grab.
He also never said, "Hey, I did it."
No, he
Right?
didn't. But
So-
when I think of how serious in nature those allegations are, I want to hear you say, I didn't do that.
No,
I-
hell
well,
no,
I
think-
wouldn't.
I think
I
that-
didn't.
I
do
want to
that.
hear you
I
say,
think
I did
that-
not do that.
I think we can measure how serious he's taking
Especially
it by the speed of the response.
Mm-hmm.
That looked like I'm not playing.
It
with
came
you.
out less than
Literally,
5
it was-
minutes
yeah, it
after
was-
That
the news
looks
broke.
like I'm not playing with you.
It also
Like,
looks like you knew what was about to happen.
well, it
Well,
also
of
looks
course,
like
well,
hold
of
on.
course.
It also looks like we're getting a response from one of the most prolific writers
Right.
in the history of the genre.
Listen,
No,
I'm
no,
not
wait, Kim.
saying
Kim, hold
yay
on,
or nay.
hold on.
I
Let-
am
it
saying
was
Kim,
let's
hold on.
look
Writer.
at all of the facts,
Let-
and
hit-
we don't know all of the facts
Kim,
before we start
Kim,
talking
here are the
about
facts. It started off with, I received the letter. He knew it was coming. So it's not even, you know,
Yeah.
I
He did
think
say
that
that.
A formality
I did this back in
before you
1992.
file-
I think
it's
you
a
know what I mean? Like,
formality
it's not
before
even,
you file a lawsuit.
of course.
Right?
Right. So he
So-
knows that it's coming.
I'm
He
not
knows, okay,
vouching for this lawyer.
you
I'm not doing that. I'm not
Right.
vouching for this
No, I'm
lawyer.
not taking it that way.
I'm not, I don't want it to come out like that. I don't want,
Yeah,
I
because
don't want
everybody's
the
kind of
internet.
confused.
and the cult's
I thought
coming
you was
after me. Okay?
What cult?
Everybody's kind of
Not
confused
talking
though. When
about the cult, but I just want to say, because I don't take no sides and stuff like this. I don't know people like that. I don't know what they're doing. That I will not take a side in this situation until I see what's going on. So I'm
Right.
looking at the allegations and I'm looking at the statements being made by both parties. And that's all I'm saying.
All right,
And that's all I'm
but
saying.
you do know that these allegations,
And that's all I'm saying.
Hold on, did you look it up?
the internet, it's crazy.
Internet's is going wild.
The
on you.
internet's is going to go crazy.
They're going wild on you.
Yeah, they gonna wild on you,
They're not going to wild on me. Why?
huh?
Oh, they going wild on me? Why?
facts.
Because I don't jump on Jay-Z's
No, because
side
I'm
of
gonna
me
pin the
immediately. I
comment.
just want to...
I'm gonna pin the comment to this video. Wow, on her
Do you
right
not
now.
like Jay-Z?
Below,
No.
And we're back.
One of my favorite rappers.
it's Nas.
So
It's Nas.
one of my favorite
Right.
rappers is Nas.
she's still caught up in that.
For sure.
Yeah, you know
For
what
sure.
I mean?
No.
The Kendrick and Drake
Jay
of her
is
time.
one
You
of
know what I'm saying?
the top artists, right? So I'm gonna hold him to a high standard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold him to a high standard because he's achieved what very few in this culture have been able to achieve.
But
So I want, there's no buts about it.
Right.
No, there's
I just want to be able to vouch for people, and I know that their character is good. And so an allegation like that, to me, is a big problem. I want to know, where's this coming from?
It's coming
Where's
from,
this coming from?
It's coming from a lawyer who had 120 lawsuits filed against
And 2
Diddy
years ago,
with
we might have been
different
having the
people.
same conversation about Diddy.
Hold on. It's coming from a
Don't
guy.
do this to me.
Hold
I gotta
on.
go home. I gotta go home. Don't do this to me. No, fine.
You gotta let me
Fine.
talk though,
Let me
Kim.
just
You gotta
say-
let me talk
let
though,
me just
Kim. You gotta let me
say,
talk though, Kim.
I'm not on nobody's side.
He said that.
Kim,
He said that.
Kim, you
Jay's
said
one
it.
of the
You spinning the
greatest
block.
MCs in the-
You spinning the block.
I just want to say that.
Kim, there's nobody
Kim.
there. Who are you talking to? We all over here.
No,
you know
she's
they
trying.
all
She's
there.
trying to break the
Talking
fourth
to the
wall.
internet.
Like I'll be
They're
breaking
all
the
over
fourth wall.
here.
I've been breaking
But I'm
the
trying to
fourth wall.
explain to Kim that this is coming from a lawyer who had 120 lawsuits on Diddy and a hotline number for anybody else who wanted to jump into the fray. Like, come on. You can't get serious about this type of stuff.
When you said the
you gotta look where it's coming from.
When you said the character of a person, that lawyer's character counts
Is
too.
in question as well.
Right.
100%.
No, big time. Since he's
It's
the
been
one
in
starting
question
it.
since he sent all those lawsuits. It's been in question. But listen.
I
I don't
think this
know
all
yet.
started with, I said I enjoyed the statement.
right.
And-
I said
Right,
it had
we
the
can leave
King's
it there.
English in
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, we
I
just
enjoyed
kinda-
it. It was thorough.
Right.
It was a thorough response. But you say you need more. You say
I need
you
more
need,
from
I
a
didn't do
Jay-Z.
it specifically in
I
those
need
words.
more from a Jay-Z.
Then we'll hope that we get it in the
Yeah.
future.
Maybe
I
we
need
get an
more.
album.
Okay,
You know what I mean? Maybe we'll
what
get
if-
an album.
Listen,
Maybe we get an album.
if he would have hit a freestyle last night and it would have
What?
Blew the internet up.
listen,
That's how they
and
used
he
to
would
do
have
it.
released a
They used to
a
go in the
song?
booth on 106 and Park. And
I
air
wanna
out
see that.
grievances.
Yo,
Right?
let me hear it in
Yo,
the
you
let me hear
can't
it
be
in
that hard pressed for new music, son. You can't. You just can't, man. Like, come on.
Listen, all
Yeah.
right,
You
I'll
know
be the
what?
lone soldier here.
I'm gonna leave that one alone because any excuse to get new music out of Jay, I'm here for. I'm not even gonna
Oh
soldier
my
on it.
God.
The freestyle he dropped. You know when I work, I ain't slave, right? You know niggas die for equal pay, right? You know when I work, I ain't slave, right? You know we ain't shucking, jiving, high fiving. You know this ain't back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That shit was cold. That
Right.
whole shit was. If this gets him in his feelings to do another one of those,
Oh my God.
Kenan is here.
I just feel like Kanye West is somewhere saying, I told you, nigga.
Shout out to Kanye.
Shout out to
He's a truth
Kanye.
teller.
Where does Kanye live?
in space.
Yeah, right? He's in outer space.
On a ranch.
He's out there.
He's on a ranch.
In a ranch,
Oh,
in an arena, back room,
Wyoming.
someplace doing push-ups. Like, ain't no telling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get the general consensus is you can't get to billionaire status without doing people dirty, right? That's the general consensus. You have to do something wrong to someone
That's the consensus
to
of
get to
people
a
who are
billionaire
not
status.
billionaires.
However,
Right.
more people are not billionaires than are. However, I also believe, and I've also seen the merits of business, where a good deal for me may not be a good deal for you, or you may not benefit from this good deal for me, or it might even be to your detriment, but it's not personal and it's not intentional, but this is the best deal for me, so I'm going to do this deal. And after I do this deal, we'll all walk away from this table. I'll be up, and you'll be saying, that dirty mother, oh, you grimy mother, ooh, look what you son of, damn, oh, and I'll become the bad guy. But all I did was the best thing for me. And I didn't necessarily do the best thing for me to damage you.
So how does this...
That sounds like the Facebook argument.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that dude did his best friend like that. You know what I mean? Like, he say he didn't know those lawyers were doing that or whatever, and he ignored it, and the guy got his money. But, like, when I watched the movie, it seemed like, you know...
Oh, wait, you mean the Facebook
with his response,
movie?
yeah.
Oh, geez.
But, like, it's, you know, it's the story. Like,
That is the
he's like, you signed a bad... You gonna get mad at me because you signed a bad business deal with your own company? It sounded like he knew, you know what I'm saying, kind of shit. So, like, right there, it's like, yo, you foul. You know what I'm saying? Like, like,
sounds
how
like the
much money
Rockefeller
does it
story.
take?
But those,
You know what I'm saying?
again,
Just be overboard or
those
whatever.
are the ethics of business. That's what
but
business has
it's
always
not
been.
the ethics.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I feel
no,
like that's
it's the
just
ethics of the person
what
doing
certain
business.
people do. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Certain lawyers, certain people are like, yeah, they're trying to get the most money for their clients. And if you're not one of their clients, then yeah, good luck getting a fair deal for sure.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, I mean, we're all responsible for reading our contracts, man. And if you don't like the percentages, then don't sign it. And if you signing shit without reading it, then you're just as much at fault. You know what I'm saying?
Which
but
is
as
the
far
ethics
as, like,
of business.
I disagree with that. I feel like those
How
are the
so?
ethics of the individuals.
Yeah.
Because like not all business
Right.
got to be dirty. I
You
started
should
my
exactly,
company
right.
based on the fact,
Automatically be watching my
like,
back.
listen to this. My company is called Artists for Artists because we want artists to have an ownership stake in the work that they do. My main example of that, because it's like one of my favorite movies, is Beetlejuice, right? Michael Keaton. If it wasn't for Michael Keaton, that movie wouldn't be nothing, right? And we going on 40 years of a movie that they've been making money on, and he doesn't have an ownership stake. He only has his check that he took in '88, which was probably what, 90 grand, because that was a lot of money back then, kind of shit or whatever.
Right.
And it's not like he gets residuals all through his whatever, but that's the contract he signed, kind of shit like that. But I find that to be hyper egregious. So our approach is to try to allow for the artist to have an ownership stake, and like nobody really started offering that before we did it. And then all of a sudden, you know, Matt Damon and them got their, you know, artists, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 trying to copy us.
Right.
But that was our mentality from the jump, and it was a revolution when it should have just been the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers should be able to, like, have an ownership stake in the things that they build. Like, what would Black Panther be without Chadwick? What would this be without that person? You know what I mean? Like, shit like that.
Right.
That's what I feel like should be the humanic norm. You know what I'm saying? But what has been the historic norm is these like crazy, like, I'm gonna get the highest percentage because that's gonna make me richer faster. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the music business. Let me get this publishing that they don't know how to sign for. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me make sure this and that and the other is taken. Let me get this merch. Let me do this. Let me do that. Little shit that they don't have the knowledge that they have the rights to, kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And that is dirty ethics as a person in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're really looking out for your artist, why wouldn't you tell them about the opportunities that they have to make the same amount of money off of them that others are? You know what I'm saying?
Because they're not their artists.
But they are. Like, Diddy did that to his whole Bad Boy squad. Like, he ain't telling them about their
Not everybody.
These are not
as many as he could.
Well, we've had a couple artists here that said, no, I didn't have a bad experience with this guy.
G-Dep said that.
G-Dep, Loon said that. Who else?
Basically those two.
Those
kinda
are the
ran
ones
out
that we
quick.
had.
Yeah, I know. Basically just those
We didn't have any other bad boy artists, so don't make it sound like, you know what I mean?
Nah, but the rest of them on their
Yeah.
own was saying like they didn't have a good situation with them. But the two that came here, they definitely said they got their shit together.
I'm happy to see the environment change.
I would like to.
I'm
And
happy
like,
to see
and
the
I
environment
understand
change.
where you're coming from with that, because it's like, yeah, motherfuckers is, we know we sharks, like when it's like an opportunity to make money, then, you know, good on you if you can get as much in that contract negotiation on your side as you can. You know what I'm saying? But to purposefully like shun somebody, you know what I'm saying? Or slide somebody, or like, you know, just like turn a partnership left without letting that partner know that you're gonna turn left.
Right.
That's where they
See, but that's why I was clear in the beginning when I said not cutting somebody's throat to do it. That's why I said it that way.
But you said that you got to do somebody dirty to like.
I said the
that's
general
right.
consensus is to get to that point, you have to do somebody dirty, and doing somebody dirty is kind of in the eye of the beholder. There are certain people who are going to see you as the villain in this story, no matter what, when they didn't come out the same way that you did. There are people who are going to see you as the bad guy. Are you the bad guy? Did you go in there to intentionally do something foul? Maybe, maybe not, but only you would know.
Right.
I look at Will Smith and old girl too. You know what I'm saying? It's another example of that, because she was trying to be on that like, let's hold hands and get paid, and he was like, my deal is my deal, your deal is your deal, you know, quote unquote. And for 35 years they had beef. You know what I'm saying? She never really worked. Once she got fired off the show, she went back to theater.
The original okay.
And been barking from the sidelines ever since. Then he finally heard her, you know what I mean, and was like, let's make amends, because, you know, he was able to get to a place where he didn't feel threatened by his complicitness in what she was saying and how she was getting done wrong. He allowed for her to get fired. He allowed for her to get replaced. He allowed, you know what I mean, like, not saying he didn't probably have control over his show, so it wasn't like that, but if he would have like walked off the show, there would have been a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, we all know probably that was going to be the case.
Right.
The outcome of that conversation, we don't really know. They would have been like, probably like, fuck the Fresh Prince, and they would have just deaded the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the conversation would have been different, and the legacy behind that would have been different. Now it's just you know, let's repair it, and, you know, we cool, but he can't, you know, remove the trauma of her 30 years of struggling to pay bills because she's back to the theater, you know what I'm saying? And doing local theater probably, which doesn't pay. It's not like she went to Broadway,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So like she went back to life, basically, kind of shit. And he has a part to play in that, you know what I'm saying? Just by knowing what she was trying to achieve and going a different route with it, or not supporting it kind of shit or whatever, or not being able to talk to her and be like, get to a place where they can agree, you know what I'm saying, before she continues to go further down that road, that I'm not going with you like that. And instead, he was just immediately like, and, you know, because he probably was, you know, he probably was scared, because it was a couple years before he got the Fresh Prince where he was broke, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't able to like pay his bills, and he hanging out backstage at Arsenio trying to get on. So when he did get on, someone trying to ruffle feathers for a pay increase or whatever, he probably wasn't feeling it like that. And it's just sad that the way he expressed himself wasn't clear enough, it seemed like, or it wasn't clear that he was trying to be maybe compassionate to her, but he wasn't just gonna go with it necessarily. So the compassion got lost, because all she quotes is, my deal, your deal. You know what I'm saying? My deal is my deal, your deal kind of shit, with that kind of attitude that she's probably been echoing for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's her experience with that.
So it becomes the narrative. If you say it longer, but nobody takes into account, I got kids.
Yeah, nobody takes
really
into his
gamble.
account his perspective like that, because
My albums ain't
his
selling like
perspective
that.
is so shiny now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So big, like he's Will Smith. You know what I mean? And he won the Oscar that night after he slapped that man.
Yeah.
They didn't disqualify him from winning.
Let's
You know
not
what I'm
forget
saying?
that.
They didn't even put him out the building.
No,
He performed.
And
He
he
sat right back down.
He
Celebrated.
performed.
Yo.
He performed.
Nah, he
getting
really
jiggy
did,
with
though.
it.
You know?
Nah.
He
There you
did.
go.
Straight up.
So when things like you know, everything that we've been discussing with the Jay-Z stuff and all, I wanted to ask you, is there like, okay, a taste tester like, yo, this happened in the world this week. Do you guys want to talk about it on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, I think, you know, the group as a whole, hallway conversations, the table read, those are kind of all the like litmus tests of, you know, is this relevant? Is this ruffling feathers? Is it bothering people, or is it getting laughs the way I've chosen to write about it, kind of shit?
Right.
And then the ultimate test is the audience on Saturday. But yeah, if you want to take something hyper offensive and try to make it funny within the time that it's still very topical, it's a tough thing to do. You know what I mean? Because that show is like, yeah, they want to be edgy, but a lot of the time people just want to laugh. You know what I'm saying? And by the end of the week, it's been a long week. And by the time our audience comes, it's nighttime. You know what I'm saying? So especially in the wintertime, like, it's kind of an oasis to be in the building. You know what I mean? Like, once the Rockefeller Christmas tree goes up, especially. So if you can make it inside somewhere, you just want to be happy.
Right.
So a lot of people ain't really thinking of how brilliant an approach to a joke is in the time it takes for the laughs to come in fast enough for you to consider the sketch funny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of the time, if it rubs them the wrong way, or they're just like, ooh, they just will do nothing, or they'll give like an audible like, oh, you're grown, as opposed to like, it just takes too long to be like, that's brilliant, and then laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it either strikes you funny or it strikes you offensive. And when you're trying to tackle something that's, you know, a touchy subject, if you will, yeah, it takes a while to get everybody on that same page to feel comfortable enough to laugh.
Well, people predicted which way the elections was going to go by you guys making jokes about, you know, one of the candidates.
Yeah.
How does it feel to see like, oh, okay.
Well, this time it was a little different. You know, like I remember when dude won the last time, you know, the table read was filled with people like in tears because some people felt like they might have had a hand in, you know, like
and winning
the situation, by, you know, doing impersonations of people or shining those people in a light to where they were being laughed at as opposed to being taken seriously type thing. But then people realize it's like it's so much bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? It's so much bigger than our show kind of shit. Like we can't. First of all, I don't think the whole nation is watching like that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people that do watch. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's so many people in the country, and a lot of, you know, there's so many like people that are in young generations that don't even watch TV. You know what I'm saying? They like watch clips and shit like that or whatever. So the perspective, I think, was a little heavier on them at the time than, you know, it was this time around. And then this time around, I was surprised because Kamala came on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like right beforehand. Like it was the Saturday before the Tuesday.
Yeah, how y'all do that?
That shit was gangster.
Yeah.
What's up with that? You know what I'm saying?
What's up with that?
You know, straight up. That's how I felt. Once I heard she was coming, I was like, oh, that's big. You know, so I feel like we got this sold up. You know, because it felt like a major shift when she was announced as a candidate instead of Joe. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, all right. We're about to do this. Like decency shall, you know, have a victory kind of lap, basically, one time for at least decency. You know what I'm saying? Let alone, do I like this person? Do I like that person? Oh, she was a, you know, prosecutor, so she locked up mad black people. You know, like a lot of things to dislike on either side, I'm sure.
Right.
But for human decency, it seemed like it was like, okay, I think we got that side, like, and we got it covered this time. And I woke up Wednesday and that was not the case. So.
Do you protest some of these things? Like, yo, come on, man. We just had her on the show. We about to, come on, At
that point, it's like, it's bigger than television. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the nation has spoken kind of thing. And, you know, do I agree with it? Not my president. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it is what it is, though. And I didn't love people coming out and being like, this is a great day for democracy because everybody agrees and we can move on. I'm like, you know, kind of, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell that to these people that's about to like really have issues on day one kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, tell that to the families of victims from the January 6 people he's planning on pardoning on day one. It's all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So would you rather be left out of those type of situations?
No, I'm vocal. I'm pretty vocal about my participation. Like, I was at the DNC and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm on, you know, that side of things, and like I understand the histories of the Democratic Party as well. And a lot of people laugh at that because, you know, it's not the greatest history as far as like them not being involved in like, you know, slavery or whatever the fuck the history is that they try to be like the Democrats started this, that, and the other, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm talking about current day representation, this or that. For me, it was, you know, the Kamala side of things.
So it's like.
Say something.
No, I'm quiet.
Leave me out of that.
Quiet, because it's always Kim. It's always Kim. I just want to hearing conversation. That's it. Just listening.
Wow. So I got.
I mean, did anybody vote for Trump in here? It's fine if you did.
Couple of them.
Yeah, this is a MAGA room.
You know?
That's none of nobody's business.
Yeah, right. It's also your personal business.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
But if you did, I would love to discuss why. You know, like, you know, I want to hear because I'm always willing to learn.
Oh, we going controversial?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, but at the same time, I don't have all day. It's already one thing.
Since we going controversial, I would love to discuss why Katt Williams has never been on Saturday Night Live.
Nice dodge.
He done.
Nice dodge. Nice dodge.
Exactly.
Nice dodge.
That's good dodge, huh?
He has to check the
Matrix.
Like that.
So Katt, and I feel like in a way it was a shot at Drake also. He kind of like, you know, he worded it a certain way. He was like, Saturday Night Live has never had me on the show, and they always get a.
Did he sound like
That's
that?
a good impersonation, Matt. You did a good job.
I'm just I could be better, but you know, I'm auditioning right now. I heard he got a company, you know. Right? So he said he's always portrayed by a female. I remember the most notable sketch that y'all did of Katt Williams. Drake was in it. Drake was playing him, so I was like,
I mean, Drake played him. Jay Farrell played him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he must not watch the show. Basically, that's what I'm taking away from it. Because it's the only time a female played him was Ego, and that was the most recent time. You know what I'm saying? Like she just did that shit, and that was the first time she ever did it. So it was like, oh, I always just been on. I'm like, bro, you ain't been watching the show at all. Like, don't even play because. Jay was probably 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? That he was doing. He did the Green Jacket, you know what I'm saying? So like, that was back then.
Kim Chronicles.
That was that was the impersonation of the time, you know what I'm saying?
They always get a female to portray me.
They ain't mentioned. Yeah, I see.
So I'm asking for Katt. Do y'all fuck with Katt Williams?
Who is y'all?
The
show?
SNL. Yeah.
I can't speak for the show. I mean, I would assume, you know, if he was, you know, if he had a project that was exciting enough that was dropping that weekend, like anybody is of caliber to come. That's how it kind of goes. But at the same time, you know, they do have people that I would assume that they like working with. I don't know. He might have had his chance and like rub somebody the wrong. I don't really know how much interaction he's had with the show necessarily.
Is there a comedy Illuminati?
I think there's a few different Illuminatis, but they're all mostly just, you know, money-focused things. So anybody that's money-focused is, in my opinion. So that's all the end-all, be-all is, you know, how much money is happening around this. They don't really care about, you know, too many other things, probably.
What's your focus?
I've
not money focused.
never been, like, invited to the Illuminati party. I wanted to go. I want to see. I'm curious. Like, I'm just as curious as you.
I think you should do stand-up comedy, man.
I said what? You said people who are money focused,
implying
that maybe that's not your full focus.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my only focus. Like, I think financial responsibility should be a major focus, especially for any parent. You know what I'm saying? But I like doing business and, you know, all of that. But it's not the end all everything, and I don't leave the humanitarian efforts out of the equation. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just like, what are the bottom line numbers, and how do we get those numbers above the line, regardless of if it's a situation that's going to upset somebody by somebody needing to lose their job or being shifted over here or this, that, and the other, or whatever, or pay people less, or whatever kind of shit that budget cuts, explanations are, kind of thing. That's a tough one. Like,
would you like to see Katt Williams on the show?
I would like to see him on the show if he would have a good time doing it. I don't know if that would be the case. Like, I feel like he would butt heads with a lot of things that have to happen there. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say, like, I don't know his work ethics like that, but he seems like he works a lot, so maybe that wouldn't be the thing.
Right.
But I've seen a lot of people get tired, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of engaging in people that aren't necessarily... I feel like he could do it. I just want him to have a good time doing it and not be, just like butting heads with people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it feels like that's what he does. It feels like he butt heads with people. So like, I don't know.
So y'all gonna hit him with the dress?
Hit him with the dress?
Hit him with the dress.
What's that?
The dress. The dress.
Oh, put him in a dress?
Put him in the dress.
You know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
I'm just saying, the dress.
He's holding the dress up.
Was like, hey,
I'm just saying. Yeah. Is that really a thing?
Why don't you wear this dress? I don't know if it's a thing about like the conspiracies of the need to emasculate people necessarily. Right. It's just a go-to laugh seeing a man in a dress. Like, it has always been that. You know what I mean? Like,
never been funny to me.
Oh,
there you go.
Shanae cracked everybody.
Facts.
Fact.
Facts.
I mean, it goes beyond that.
Shanae
was hilarious.
Super funny.
Yeah.
I think it was funny because it was his choice.
And Flip Wilson was doing that.
I mean, I thought Wanda was funny, but
Wanda was
Wanda.
funny.
Wanda
was
I'm
funny.
thinking about Wanda. Wanda was funny too.
But, it is what it is. To each his own. If it bugs you, it bugs you, bro.
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about not doing stand-up comedy. Will you ever think about doing it?
I've done it. Like, I do it at these little colleges and shit, but like, I don't do it, like committed enough to like build a set and like tour and like do a special and shit like that, like a real stand-up does. Like, I can go to a college because it allows me to like tell my story and like have funny anecdotes along the way or whatever. And that's like, it is a performance of sorts, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I could easily just sit here and not be funny and just tell my story or whatever, but I'm doing it in a comedic way because I know I'm supposedly entertaining folks at the same time because they have an expectation of me being funny.
Right.
As opposed to like, just let me come to like, who wants to pay to just sit here? Like, you know what I mean? And like, let me just talk to them or whatever, blah, 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 without like some real entertainment out of it, right? So it's a version of that, but like real stand-ups, man, like they in them comedy clubs every night, you know what I'm saying? 5, 6 shows, trying to build a set 5 minutes at a time over the course of a year and then touring all over the month.
That's a lot.
I have other shit to do.
How many years have you been on SNL now?
21?
22, yeah.
22.
And is this the longest, like, of anyone?
Mm-hmm.
What do you attribute that to?
And what do you get a call from like
just
Eddie
like-
Murphy and people when you get to a certain amount
You
of
like the
years?
big dog?
Like,
Give me like
congratulations.
somebody tell a joke. You're like,
I wish.
Hold on. 22 years?
You're like,
The
out of here.
longest.
This is
The
my
longest.
Yeah.
22 years. Clap that up. Very clap that up.
Thank you very much.
Gotta count for
That
something.
feels good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I seen the
Who you
covers.
blackmailing?
I look like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's
What do I attribute
Why you gotta
it
be
to?
blackmailing
I'm
somebody?
just saying. It's
I attribute it to knowing the other side of what it's like not to have a job, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the years between Nickelodeon and SNL were a real like wake up call for me as far as like being an adult and having to provide for yourself.
Right.
And like up until that point, it wasn't really a problem because I was providing early. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was still a young kid and I was able to, whatever say that I had, money coming in kind of shit. So that mentality was just different. And then I didn't feel like I needed to know what it was like to like, you know, bartend or, you know, serve or this, that, and the other because this was what I was going to do. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have no reason to think that it would ever be an issue kind of thing as far as like finding work is concerned. But the transition from like, you loving that story?
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
I'm talking about my life here.
It's like, get to the drug dealing part, man. You slinging drugs or not?
Yo, that was
the times get that hard.
Yeah, man. Like trying to prove to people that a child actor can perform for adult audiences was a tough thing. You know what I'm saying? And like for a couple of years, shit was not happening. And that was at the same time that I was finding out that my accountant ran away with all my first monies, kind of shit or whatever.
Wow.
So, you know, that was a, you know, it was a tough.
Wow.
Being famous and being broke is the worst
whack.
thing you can ever do.
Whack.
You know what I mean?
You ever heard of a culture called battle rap? Yeah, that's what that's like.
That's what that's like.
That's
right?
what that's like. Yeah,
Famous and
it's
broke.
crazy.
Yeah.
Famous and broke.
How you land that gig playing Fat Albert?
So Fat Albert came after I got SNL, and I had auditioned for it before I got SNL when Forrest Whitaker was directing, and he didn't give me the job. He didn't like my audition, or me probably, which is fine because we, you know, we made amends when he hosted the show years later or whatever, and he's cool. He's just, you know, he just went a different direction. He hired my buddy Omar, you know, Omar from 8 Mile, big dude, ballers and shit. And I love Omar to death. He's one of the nicest people in the world. So I wasn't mad necessarily. I was just saddened. But then Forrest Whitaker and Cosby got into it, and the project fell apart. Like they fired Forrest, and then the project fell apart for like 2 years. And in that time, I got on SNL or whatever. So it was just a different level of respect, I guess, at that point. And like new director, and I got the job at that point. So yeah, that's how that came about.
Did you have to audition again?
Yeah, but this time I was like coming in at the last minute, you know what I'm saying? And like I had to fly in, and like they knew they didn't have that much time with me. So
I heard you.
My time,
Heard you.
Like, you know what I mean? So it was a different kind of focus on it. And then like, you know, it was down, like the first time it was down to like me and Omar, and they just chose Omar. And then the second time around, I think Omar might have been busy. I don't even know if he auditioned like that the second time around. Because he might have been mad about it because they had him like, you know, running track and shit like that because Cosby's big on track for some reason and big on Fat Albert running track or some shit like for whatever reason.
Right.
So they had him like in the outfits and like going through it for like 2-3 weeks.
I can't see it, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just can't see it, especially after you done did it.
Yeah, you know,
I can't see
it. But yeah, that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Chris Farley was supposed to be Shrek? Interesting. Would have been a different thing.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
Think about that transition that you mentioned before, going from a child actor to an adult and breaking out of that mold. Like, you know, they got you pigeonholed in this one role and they see you as a kid for your entire career. And there's a lot of kid actors who don't make it past that.
Yeah.
Right.
When it's time to do adult roles, everything kind of stalls out because everybody just sees them as, and they could have been super successful as a child actor, but it's time to grow up. Everything looks different.
Right.
So when people talk about like, what is your inspiration for staying around so long? That's part of it. You know what I mean? Like just knowing, you know, how iffy the business can be. You know what I'm saying? And like how it is smarter to keep a job in some sort of fashion if you can. It's also a blessing to have a job, get a job, keep a job as an actor. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just hyper, you know, unpredictable or whatever.
Right.
And then on top of that, having a family, you know what I mean? And like starting a family and like stability as an actor is even another, you know, level of like what a blessing it is to just be in one spot and be able to like earn, you know what I'm saying? And like make it home for dinner kind of shit.
But does it make you the OG on set? Like everybody kind of looks to you for direction?
Somewhat. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them learn very quickly, and a lot of our cast has been there for a long time now.
Right.
And there's other people that they can ask, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm kind of there here and there. Like, I haven't really had to do much, especially these last couple of shows. I only did like one thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this last show, I think, or something. But I did like a pre-tape, so it seems like I did more or whatever kind of shit. And like, you know, that kind of balance or whatever, like,
What's the perks? What's the perks? Like,
if I was there a lot, then I'd be able to like offer a lot of advice. But the
Right.
perks is employment, healthcare.
Facts.
I think the alumni of it all.
Yeah. Is there hazing for like new comedians? Like,
Cause this nigga funny as shit. This guy, you gotta get this dude right here.
stop.
Yeah, but I think the hazing doesn't come from us, it comes from the audience. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because you'll work your ass off and the audience won't give a fuck for a while until they really fuck with you like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've seen, you know, a lot of people like work really, really hard for years, and then all of a sudden the audience just, you know, accepts what they, and then they, you know, they just blow up because it's like everything they do, they understand now. But a lot of the time when you're really good at something, you're probably before your time as far as like the audience's taste buds. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people still want to laugh at Will Ferrell style,
Right.
as opposed to allowing, you know, a newer style to come through and be like, this is still comedy, you know what I'm saying? And you can still like get on board with it, but a lot of people be stuck in like, you know, I'm still in my outcast ears.
So it's improv. It's live improv. It's scripted, but you know, you guys are on the fly. Are there any times just sitting there and someone does something, you're like, ha ha ha, rookie mistake?
Yeah, I'm not a villain. Demise. Look at him embarrassing himself on national television.
But I'm sure there's times where you're like,
No, it's actually
I knew that was
I'm like,
gonna
oh
fly.
no. You know what I mean? Like we want to stop the train wreck from
that's
happening for people. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of time it's things that they don't have any control. Like the camera will cut to a different camera or some shit like that. You know, there's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of people that, you know, maybe the guy's been on the job 40 years and, you know, he's not paying attention, you know, to every single sketch, you know, as sharply as you might assume he would. Or, you know, you can't just guarantee he's going to make every camera switch, you know, exactly correct. You hope they do, you know what I'm saying? But if it doesn't, you know, and it accidentally starts to like fall off, you know, you want them to like stay in it and stay committed and not give up on shit and try to get it back on track and just make it through. But it's frustrating when, you know, you get the sketch on the show because you got to like make it through all these levels to even get to the live show, you know what I'm saying? And then by that time, something still goes wrong. It's like, fuck, I'll never know how good it could have been because that was the only time, you know what I'm saying, that it's going to air kind of shit.
Right.
So yeah, there's lots of like ups and downs like that. And it's a very emotional kind of place. So I try to tell motherfuckers like, you know, there's just remind people, like they told me, there's always another show. Relax, you already got the job, you know what I'm saying? So now just do it kind of shit and just, you know, just stay in it. But it's a lot easier said than done because you're presenting a lot of yourself. You're like, this is what I find funny, you know what I'm saying? I thought this was smart. Maybe, you know, like, and your response is telling me that it's not smart, it's not funny. Go back, blah, blah, blah. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially over and over and over again. So
what would you say are the biggest eye-opening moments for like, y'all don't fuck with that? I didn't know.
Whenever I used to write by myself, I used to get those wake-up calls because my shit is not linear. So like I'll just be thinking and I'm writing and then I'll have another thought and I'm like, that's funny. And it has nothing to do with the previous shit, you know what I'm saying? So when you read it all back, it's just all over the place and shit. And I had to learn like, okay, I need to be doing drafts, number one, and like checking in and all that. I'm like, I'm not doing all that.
Right.
So like, I let the writers write because that's what they're good at. You know, I didn't take writing courses and shit. You know, like I'm an actor. You know?
Olympic highlights. What's that like working with Kevin Hart? What was that
Good times. And I think it shows like we be having good laughs. You know what I'm saying? Like real good, honest laughs because I'm also sitting with a fellow brilliant, silly person. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime he gets silly, it's the best.
Right.
You know, like anytime we like trying jokes, it's hit or miss or whatever. But like that natural like silliness when you start acting like, oh, let me just impersonate my uncle or any old black man. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we get into that shit, it's the best. So
Mike Epps is big on that. Old black man.
for years. That's been his whole career.
Yeah, I was
calling
about to
out
say,
the
Mike
old
Epps
black
was
people.
born
Mad
that
funny.
way.
He's exactly.
My favorite is the crook in the neck dude.
Beatbox your old ass.
The crook in the neck dude, where he's just like always like, "Hey, what's going on, bro?"
Yo, now the chicken wing, that hand thing he be
Chicken
doing.
wing.
Kenan's top 5 sketches of all time in your 22 years.
That I've done.
Yes, top 5. Your
What's
top
up with
5,
that
please.
is up there.
What's
Scared
up with
Straight
that?
is up there.
Mhm.
There was this one like security guard that got fired for like sexual harassment or something, but for some reason they like him so much that they kind of like gave him a pass. So like they were sad to see him go, but the other executive he got fired with, they were cursing him out. That shit was funny.
Hold on. What's up with that based on?
That was just based on an idea I had where I was like, I think it'd be funny if I had a talk show and I let people talk. Just that, baseline. Like,
Right.
and then it grew from there. It's like, oh yeah, I'm like sing the theme song. And I started writing with Brian Tucker. And, he's a great writer. Like,
Right.
he's a white guy that I write a lot with, but
Mhm.
he celebrates black culture. Like he loved the Jefferson, He loves good times. He loves like all of it kind of shit. He's kind of obsessed with it. So he wrote for, his obsession helps him write for, the Chris Rock show, the Chappelle show, this, that, and the other. So he's a
Right.
good formulator of, my personal instincts based on my background, basically, kind of thing. So when we collaborated, it serves both places. It serves what I think is funny and SNL, you know what I'm saying? Because it's in a proper format or whatever.
Right.
As far as like setting up a story, having good meat in the middle of the story and finishing the story,
Pause.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a sketch.
Yeah,
kind
that
of
was
shit.
loud.
Pause. Where's the pause at?
Welcome to the club.
But yeah, that's how I was like, yeah, I just want to keep talking over people and not letting them finish. And it was like, oh, we should just continue singing the theme song. Because I remember Forte did this one part of a segment of a sketch where it was like a news segment or something. It was like, all right, now we're going to go over to the weather. And then he did this long song as the weatherman that just went on and on and on and on and on. And that shit was funny as hell.
Right.
And then, yeah, that was kind of the premise.
So what's up with that?
Yeah. Scared Straight.
Scared Straight.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that security guard getting fired. Charlie, I think it was his name. I don't remember the name of the sketch, but everybody just like, oh, Charlie. He was saying wild shit through the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I know I messed it up or whatever. But remember, I always liked whatever skirt she used to wear, like whatever it was. But and then like I feel like Big Papi is up there just because it gives me
Big
Dominican love from every Dominican I've ever met from that point on. You know what I'm saying? Still to this day.
Yeah, it was good.
Damn, I gotta close it out. There's so many. The fifth one I would say. Yeah, Family Feud. Family Feud was a lot of fun. Yeah, we did Family Feud a lot. But yeah, it was a good time. Shout out to Steve, man.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah.
Big Papi.
How do you suppress your voice to keep the stability going? Stability seems to be very important to you for great reasons. You got a family, you got to provide, et cetera, and you know what the lean years look like. So I can understand you not wanting to risk that, but at the same time, you seem very outspoken when it comes to issues that could get you in hot water.
I was about to say I don't really suppress it all. Like I've been through my hot water, you know what I mean? And
Right.
I speak my mind, you know what I'm saying?
Just speak
And, like,
up.
a lot of the time it's like it ain't really nothing people haven't, already been saying. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
this is foul, that is foul, blah, 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 blah. And how do you feel about it? It's like I feel the same way everybody feels about it. You know what I'm saying? Like unless you're just a piece of shit, then you don't care about this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? But I've never really run into an issue where I wasn't able to speak my mind to where I thought it was going to be detrimental to my career necessarily. Like I've already dealt with backlash from misquotes anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just from saying whatever, I happen to say in the moment and people try to take it left or right, or they take parts of what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and only put that up for people's interpretation kind of thing.
Mick,
Which
you
is
got
happening
something you
right
want
now.
to say to me?
Which is, I mean, it happens all the time. Like
I have no idea what
right now they
Oh
talking
no, I'm
about
picking up an undertone.
yeah. Right now they like Pete made a joke about what we get paid on the show or whatever.
Yeah, I see
Right.
that.
And I was like, yeah, in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But every job kind of has a base salary or whatever. But in the beginning, you gotta, you know, pay it. Like I was saying, like it's notorious that everybody knows, like getting the show is the prize. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, that's more so than being paid for the show. The show's not known for overpaying people as soon as you get it. You know, like you can get there, you know what I'm saying? But right now it's like my quote was, you know, it's more about getting the job than being paid for the job. You know, and like if you leave it there, it seems like, oh, I'm fine being paid shitty the whole time, and that's when the Uncle Tom shit comes in or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But what I was saying is like, you got to start somewhere, and you pay your dues and shit, and then you can, you know, kind of grow or whatever. And then I was just, you know, throwing that shit off because it's, you know, I'm going down the line of interviews, not thinking that it was going to like splash into next week kind of shit, but that's what happens like right now. But a lot of people like understand what I'm saying, but if you're not very, very specifically clear, it can get taken, you know, left or right. So
Exactly.
I want to squeeze a question in before you go because I know you got to go soon.
get in here.
Your all-star sketch, who would you pick? 5 comedians. Your all-star SNL sketch. You and 5 others.
All right, you got to be specific. Like
All time. All comedians
cast
of all
members
time.
or all
cast
comedians of
members.
all?
Cast
SNL
members.
cast
SNL
members.
SNL cast members?
SNL cast
Okay.
members.
Chase, we got to go with the GOAT, Eddie, Sandler, like people that we can actually have today. Not like
No,
people that
all
passed
time.
away. Just all time?
Passed away.
Oh, Sandler, Farley, and then probably, oh man, I'm up to 3 already. Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan. But that's all dudes.
I was about to say, no women.
Yeah,
Tina
so now I
Fey.
got to go back. So I'm going to start with Eddie. And then I love Tracy, man. Tracy's great.
Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
Murphy.
So then, like, lady-wise my ladies are, like, more current. Like, Cecily's up there, you know, and that's 3. So
You can go over.
there's
if you
some
need to.
goats. Can I do 10? Because if I
Do
get
10,
10,
do 10, do
yeah,
10.
yeah.
If you
So I
can.
put Cecily in there. Man, even 10 is not enough. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many good ones. Like, so for one of them, I'm gonna put like 3 people in it. You got because they're current. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know how special they are, but like Ego, Heidi, and probably Chloe, I'll put all in one thing because they're so new. And then Will Ferrell's, Sandler, Farley.
That's 9.
That's everybody.
That's 9.
That's 9.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's tough, man. That's really hard.
Sorry,
I'm
I didn't
leaving-
know it was
I'm
gonna be
leaving
that
out
hard.
so many good
yeah,
people,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
I mean, I put Maya in there. I should have put her like way sooner. But yeah, Maya, man, like Maya's my sister. She's one of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I guess that's a good round out. But I feel bad because I'm leaving out mad people that are great.
I thought Chris
Anybody's
was
gonna
make
call
it.
you later, like, yo,
If they see this, they might be, you know, I'm like, what the fuck?
I drop this clip first. We need to
Stretch it to 10 and I'm still not in there.
how hard is it to keep a straight face on set?
It's really hard. I'm laughing all the time. Like if you listen, you'll hear me laughing when I'm off camera. And then a lot of time you'll see me like smirking type shit. Like when I find something funny, I'll smirk and try to just hold it in and then move on kind of shit. But it's hard for me not to acknowledge that something wasn't funny because then it just feels too much like work.
Right.
And you know, I don't want to be robotic kind of shit. Like I still want to be human and enjoy my life. Like I don't want to give my life to work all the time kind of shit. You know what I mean? I want to live, you know, in the moment as well and try to like act like, you know, this is just where I'm at, you know, currently kind of thing as opposed to like, oh, I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, yes, but at the same time, you know, gotta live life a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
should be funny.
Do you get how important you are to culture in general?
Right.
Like the things you've done, the work you've done?
Yeah,
Does
that's
that
kind
land
of
on you
why I
sometime?
do it. Like, I wanted the
No, I'm
longest
dead
running.
ass.
Same. I wanted the longest running person. Like, I wanted those accolades to be a black man, you know what I mean, or a black person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy the fact of that. You know, like whether people like call that out or not, and they just put it on me right now because I'm still here. But like when you're just looking at the history book kind of shit, that's that's going to be the facts. The longest running person, you know, for however long,
right.
you know, was Kenan Thompson, and he was a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's dope. And my attempts in the sketches that I do are always trying to like push shit up. You know what I'm saying? And I value that as far as like taking it seriously is concerned, because I'm tired of reading about, you know, people fearing the black man, you know, so much so that people get shot for doing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just shot sitting in the car in front of their wife and kid, you know, all this kind of egregiousness towards us, you know? So
yeah,
I'm always trying to like fight against that. And not just the show, like in tipping, you know what I'm saying? And like walking to all these like restaurants or whatever, like as fancy as a restaurant can be, like I'm not just gonna like wear a suit and tie just because, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make sure that I'm a respected presence there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like cordial or whatever. And, you know, a financial like good thing to see coming. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, what do I gotta do? Like, are they gonna send food back? Are they gonna be arguing about the price? Or they, you know what I mean? Like whatever kind of like prejudices people might have towards us, I'm always trying to like push against that kind of shit.
You think you guys contribute playing into any stereotypes at all?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, like you do that trying to reflect, you know, a certain thing when you're playing a character or whatever, or doing an impression kind of thing. So you try to keep that in mind. Like I'm never trying to like pull the culture back necessarily, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes that happens when you're fishing in, you know, tumultuous territory, if you will, kind of shit. But
did you ever wake up and Oprah Winfrey and Bill Cosby was standing over you while you were sleeping?
And like I had like a blood cross, upside down blood cross. I wish, man, because I be watching people get real rich. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I don't know, man. They never asked if I would drink the goat milk.
Not the goat.
Is it rewarding to be risky in this business?
Yes. I mean, because if you do it right, you know, that's what going viral does. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what those reactions kind of thing. And like it's as long as it's not hurting nobody, it's usually to your benefit. You know what I'm saying? Because awareness is, you know, a big part of, you know, being an actor. You know what I'm saying? You got to get the casting people aware. You got to get directors aware. You got to get, you know, people aware of your talents in general the whole time, constantly. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's good to like take a risk and actually achieve it, as opposed to like falling off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? Because if you fall off the cliff too many times, people don't want to hear it. It's just like, oh, this person is just trying
too hard,
wild shit
to
just try to get a reaction out of people or whatever. And it's a little boy that cried wolf after a while kind of shit.
Do you fear being canceled?
I mean, I don't like being on the bad side of people's opinions in general. So yeah, I don't want to be canceled, but I also don't know if being canceled is really a thing. You know what I'm saying? I know like people don't fuck with certain things, but that's always been the case. And you can always not watch something. It doesn't mean that something is not going to continue to happen necessarily. You know what I'm saying? So like being canceled needs more like it's pretty solid. You know what I mean? Like they close shit off pretty good, but they can't close everything off kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And people are still allowed to continue to do what they do. So no, I don't want to be, you know, associated even near that category, but at the same time, it's just like you need a more official kind of like, no, like once this happens, it's a wrap kind of shit. And I don't know if that's the case.
Was there ever a sketch that you was going into and you're like, oh, this is the one. It's about to happen. It's going down today.
And you end up striking out. The game is over. You gotta go back home. Yeah. Like, I did this one Sharpton sketch. Like it was all over the place. It was like a TV show from maybe the 70s where Sharpton was a detective or some shit like that. What? Exactly. What? Exactly. Like from the vaults of something where it was just like a one and done episodic kind of thing because they knew it was bad. And it was like Sharpton as a detective, but all he ever wanted to do was like sit down or like order food and shit like that. It wasn't funny. And that shit hit the floor because it was confusing because they gave it a chance, you know what I mean? So like, we did the dress rehearsal, so it made it all the way to the dress rehearsal, but yeah, the audience was like, what?
I don't know, it sounds funny as fuck to me.
I don't
know.
He said it only wanted to do was sit down.
Yo, that's funny. That's funny.
Comedy. All right, we're gonna take a break. I did kind of want to ask you about family life before we got up on
Yeah, please. This is it right now. Poor little baby got sick at school because she saw something on the floor, but when she vomited, so when you vomit at school, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's the new
Thank
thing.
God she's not
Today's
sick.
crazy,
Yeah.
That's the new thing.
Today's
They don't want the vomit.
She saw something dirty, like nasty on the floor and like really got sick. I'm like, oh, interesting. Like she's that impressionable.
Mm.
Yeah, she's sensitive, sweetheart.
You gotta be careful when kids figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How old?
my daughter's
6.
Six. Oh, she's right there. She's right there. She's like, okay, if I don't want to stay in school, I just gotta spit something out.
Right. Do a little spit something.
Hey, teacher.
Oh, you gotta go. God damn it. This is the 3rd time this week.
You find out there's a show on television at 2:00 that she just really likes. And she wants to be home for.
Word.
What's dad life? Well, this, of course.
Dad life is the
Yeah.
best, especially girl dad life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was another like, you know, switch that flipped because one day you're not a dad and the next day you are for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? And like, when you really embrace it, it's, you know, a lot of people say it a lot of the time is like, it's the best thing I ever done in my life. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's validity to that because it's, you know, it's how you live forever. You know, you live on through the memories of people, number one, but also through your actual genetics. You know what I'm saying? So it feels good to be a part of the continuance of things beyond yourself, kind of. And also, you know, I enjoy responsibility, so like I took to it, you know, and like I enjoy being protective, you know what I'm saying, kind of shit, and like not to play the gender, you know, thing, but you know, having girls just makes you feel more warranted to be that way, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always just thinking about, you know, Knuckles being right, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody talks about they, you know, should we get a gun? Should we do this? Then you just have those thoughts, but like when you have boys, it feels like you're just more so thinking about, you know, sports and like, you know, knock them down, they'll be fine.
Yeah, like, they'll be all right.
Eat a little dirt, you be all right kind of shit. But, you know,
girls,
they invite that, girls invite that immediate, you know, protective kind of like mentality. Yeah. For me, that was the case necessarily.
I remember having my girls, it's definitely a clear difference. Like if we're standing outside and it's like just like a pole. And, you know, my daughter holds it and spins on it. I'm like, no!
I got
no! Let it go. Don't touch that goddamn pole.
Goddamn. You hear motherfuckers from across the street.
Shut up. My daughters are like, they're probably confused. Like, well, why does daddy act like that around
having
poles?
fun.
Like, why does he do that?
Don't worry about it. Stay the fuck off a pole. even if you're wrong for that, I'll be wrong as long as they just have a fear pole.
Pole, that's it. That's it. It won't go near them. It's like, no, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Are your
you
kids
think-
funny?
Oh, you think I can make a lot of cash real quick? What? Oh yeah. And what else is it? Oh, that pole is there? No, I can't do it.
Can't do it. It's just years and years of no. Get away from that.
Yo,
Traumatized.
that's traumatizing.
Horrible.
Dead ass. I want them to be like,
Do your kids have a sense of humor? Are they funny? Like,
Yeah, they're funny, especially the little one. She's funny. It's like, our second kids are very fearless like that. You know what I'm saying? So she thinks everything is a joke. She's like watching like a lot of like horror movies before her time.
Oh,
You know what I mean? She's like she loves witches and all that. Like, you be trying to be on them, but then she'll be like, "Oh, I saw this, whatever, blah blah blah." Yesterday, like, God damn it!
how did you see that? Yeah.
But
They don't
she
be like,
loves
welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good
No.
Burger, man. Take you over the police.
Thank God. But they've seen it and they like it. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
yeah, they have their own things that they love.
I can imagine what you had to deal with that. Welcome to Good Burger.
I mean, I hear it from a lot of people. I've embraced it because people could be like, "Yo, that Good Burger shit was trash." You know what I'm saying? But they're not saying that. You know what I mean? They're happily quoting the movie in a way, and then past that, they be like, "Yo, my kid." It's always followed by a real nice sentiment, about something for them and their family kind of thing, and it just always feels good. Like
I went to a 90s party where the theme song played. Like right behind Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
They played all that.
Yeah.
And everybody sung like every
The
word.
whole shit.
When I say culture, that's what I meant.
Nah,
Like,
that's fine.
no,
you're,
for
you're
real.
That's how it works.
entrenched. A bunch of people grew up with that show in the background, and that theme song is one of those songs now.
I feel beyond blessed for that reason, and also the reason that I was able to shake out of that. Because, like, Jaleel is my brother, and I watch him go through what he goes through still to this day. You know what I mean? And he's a willing, dedicated actor, but nobody wants to give him a chance, or nobody can take it seriously or whatever, because we'll always relate him to Urkel, even in generations that have never seen Family Matters. You know what I'm saying? So, like, at this point, it's like he could be a brand new face, but a lot of, like, opportunities don't necessarily come his way because, those years of associative tissue didn't allow for money to be made in his direction. So it's like, nobody's going to invest in a direction that's not making money kind of shit.
I think he just needs to get arrested.
If he wasn't such a good guy, out here.
You know what I'm saying? He got the case, caught in a hotel,
You
couple
don't know how to go viral. You don't know how to go viral. Kick the windows out the back of the car. Motherfuckers be like, "Yo, Jaleel is out here." And then he just taking off, man.
Right.
But yeah, I'm hyper aware of all of that.
Well, you gotta let your boy Kel know we have a drop mic segment if he's serious about rapping.
He's dead, man.
Tell
He'll
him
come in here and
pull-
get real
pull up.
serious with you. Yeah,
have a
I'll
drop
tell
mic
him.
se- All right.
Next
let's
time
get
he's
it.
in town, I'm gonna tell him.
Let's get it.
fire.
Yeah.
Y'all should both pull up.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see the, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love it. I love seeing people see us together because it's such a
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I like this. I like this. Like, we worked out at the gym one time, and everybody in the gym was like, "I like this. I like this." Black men
Of
taking care of their
course.
health. Kenan and Kel together.
Right.
It's just, I'm blowing my mind in here.
That's
And I
fine.
was like, y'all realize like such and such and such and such and such and such are all over there, right?
Yeah.
But like,
After
it's a
Jay-Z
moment
and
for
Dame
us.
Dash, it's like,
You know?
it's kind of
We
crazy.
want that
seeing-
connectivity.
Right.
We're used to seeing our own not be able to work it out. We've gotten way too used to that because
Yeah.
it's almost the norm now,
Yeah.
where they don't see eye to eye. They can't get along. They can't even be in the same place at the same time without somebody expecting beef.
Right.
And for you guys to be who you were to us then and who you are to us now and still have any kind of unity, like you said, you see that shit, it's like,
Oh my
I
God.
love it. And still have that effect. That's
I
the
love
most
it
important.
because this is still the start of a new chapter. You know what I mean? For us as adults to be able to explore working as adults and, being like, because like you talk about doing stand-up and touring, that'll be my version of that. Like we're going to start like really doing shows and like really doing shit together on on a large capacity basis where it's happening a lot. And then like all of a sudden it's like there's gonna be a thing. It's like, yo, they back, they doing this. Like, we might reboot the show. There's like all these, you know, opportunities still, you know, waiting that are coming up. It's very exciting. You know what I'm saying? Because it's untapped, basically. Like, we haven't really gone out as a duo as adults ever. You know what I'm saying? So like, part 2 was the first kind of look in on that, and I thought it looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both look present. We both look like young enough, still landing jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like one of us is half asleep. You know what I'm saying? We both pretty much there. And that's just good burger. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very tame, in my opinion, as far as like the possibilities of us doing subject matter as adults. It's like, you know,
is it going to be a part 3?
Right.
It could be, you know what I mean? Like, if they want to get with it and like get with the program, you know, we got the machine ready to do it. We just got to convince the people that own it, basically. Right. So if we owned our, going back to ownership, if we owned our shit, part 3 would have been done already. You know what I'm saying? And it would be coming out probably like soon or some shit like that, because part 2 was last Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And like,
how do people get in contact with your agency?
How do they?
Yeah.
Probably just call them. I think they.
Ain't no fucking way.
Contact with them.
Thing called the phone.
Or you just call an agent. If you're looking for an agent, that's a much longer path, because you gotta do a lot of work before they come calling. You can't really call them. They come find you after you've been suggested to them. That's kind of how it goes. They call it a rat race, because it is kind of like in circles a little bit, because you need representation to show you where the job is at. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get representation without having jobs previously, kind of shit. So it's like,
chicken.
Sometimes you got to find. I got lucky. I started young and I started local. You know what I mean? So I started with an agency that was just local, and they focused on kids. You know what I'm saying? So they started like just sending us out on every commercial audition kind of ever or whatever, and then stuck with it or whatever, and then worked through the Nickelodeon years, and that's when the CAAs and shit like that started calling or whatever. But yes, it takes a long kind of trip down the road of already working before you actually get real work.
Right. Got to pay your dues.
And then you got to pay your agent 10%.
Got to pay.
And then you get your own jobs.
You know what I mean?
Agent earns it.
That's how it goes.
They earned the 10%.
Or you can just go to the right party.
I have agents on me. That's funny. That's funny.
That was a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Go to the right party.
That's funny.
Abandoned ship.
Well, on behalf of everyone who's ever fell on hard times or had a bad day, I believe laughter comes from God. So if you are someone that God has chosen to make us laugh, we appreciate you.
Man, likewise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I agree 100%, man. You know what I mean? I think these are God-given gifts, you know, so I never try to act like, oh, I would have done this without, you know, these blessings kind of shit. I would have been just as funny, you know what I mean, without any sort of it already being there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like one day, you know, if I chose to just be not funny and then all of a sudden I just think it was never like that. You know what I mean? I always had a sense of humor and I always enjoyed putting it on display. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of just, it's the path. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, it's a blessing to be on it. I appreciate y'all. This was a good talk.
Appreciate
Y'all cut hair here?
yeah, sometimes we do. Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Kenan, y'all.
Yeah.
Philly, BEATZ.
I mean, y'all hearing what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? Take a lot for a nigga to get inspired, man. So much bullshit out the day, man. So much bubble gum. You know what I'm saying? I be having to get the urge to get in this bitch, man. You know
Sometimes you gotta let that thing ride, man. You know what I mean? Rushing this shit.
like waking up sluggish from a long night after they go to the gym. And I still get in there and get the reps.
Yeah. naked to keep an eckler. And my ethic is catch a movie, kill the editor, bully the bullies, prey on the predator, smoke that premium. Niggas ain't regular, get it and whipping it, flip it, accelerate. Lecture sliding through in the Tesla, handle the rock like the professor. Felt the pressure for the lesser, everything coming together. So relentless, more endeavors, hustling more than ever. Better get yours together, fucking them whores together. Catching you and your boys together. Good connection with God, put you and the Lord together. Heaven gates, nigga.